Happy World Batman Day. That's right. Today, 21st September, is celebrated as World Batman Day. Well, actually, it is celebrated on the third weekend of every September by all Batman fans around the world. Welcome to Ritvik Speaks, where today we discuss why the legend of the Dark Knight has endured for 80 odd years and what exactly can we learn from Batman and try to inculcate in our daily lives. Stay tuned. Batman is more than just a superhero. He's more than just a fictional character. He's a superhero without superpowers, and that I think is very important for all our younger viewers to know. Because maybe others might be more familiar with it, but the younger ones, they need to know that Batman doesn't have any superpowers. Superman can fly, Spider-Man can shoot webs, but Batman, he is powered with just his intellect, his supreme strength, and his love for gadgets. He is more than just a comic book character. To me, Batman is the personification of justice. He's a symbol. He's not just a mortal man. In Batman's own words, he has said that as a man, I can be corrupted, I can be beat, I can be defeated. But as a symbol, I can be incorruptible. And that precisely captures the thought of why the Batman has been there for so long and why he will continue for more years to come. Batman transcends beyond his kicks and punches. He becomes something that gives people hope and something that strikes fear into the heart of criminals. Everyone knows Batman's tragic backstory. Bruce Wayne, who is actually the Batman, is born into a very wealthy, very rich and aristocratic family in Gotham City, the Wayne family, which has been among the elites of Gotham City for many, many generations. One night from the theater, after Bruce Wayne and his parents Thomas and Martha are returning from the theater, his parents are murdered in front of him in a dark alley by a common criminal. A young Bruce Wayne, in such tragic circumstances, grows up to be a very angry, very brutal young man. But he channels his anger in the right manner. He channels it into something positive, something beautiful, and that gives rise to the legend, the mythos of Batman. So let me share with you something that is deeply personal and yet something that all of us share. And this has to do with Batman. In life, we always strive to reach the highest ideals, certain values that are inculcated in us by our parents, by ourselves, by some habits we acquire ourselves. But there are some things that you see in common or something that you can learn from the legend of the Dark Knight. So let's have a look at what are those ideals, what can we learn from our beloved Caped Crusader. Point number 1. Truth. Batman is always seeking the truth. In fact, as I was reading in this very nice book called Batman the Ultimate Collection, in 1939, I think in May 1939, the first issue of Batman came out. But it was not DC Comics as such. It was something known as Detective Comics. And yes, Bob Kane and Bill Finger, the creators of the Batman, actually meant for Batman to be a detective, seeking the truth, fighting crime in his own way, finding out behind what's happening, what's hidden in plain sight. And so that is something we can all learn, to always strive towards truth, to always seek justice. And that's my second point, justice. Sometimes justice stops in the courts and the judicial system, and sometimes it goes beyond the law. Sometimes the system fails people. Their lives can be tormented beyond recognition. Batman steps in to deliver true justice. Now, I'm not encouraging vigilantism, mind you, but what I'm encouraging is to take a stand for justice. Batman has a clear code. There's evil and there's good. There are some grey areas in between, but Batman knows how to separate the good from the bad, and his moral compass always points true north, that is, in the direction of justice. Number 3, compassion. Protecting the weak and the indefensible is what Bruce Wayne and Batman have always done. Batman shares compassion not only with the people of Gotham City, who are terrorized time and time again by the many iconic villains, which we will talk about in due course. And he does try to understand the tragedy, what motivates criminals. For example, Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is motivated by something a very deeply tragic personal story as well. His wife Nora is suffering from a condition for which he requires sub-zero temperatures, and so he becomes a criminal. He is refused many a times by laboratories, by hospitals to treat his wife, and so he had to take the bad path. And so even though this is bad, this is not something good, Batman understands it. He empathizes with the reason behind the crime, behind the criminal. And this is what brings me to my 4th point. Fear the crime, not the criminal. This is something very important for us. As a lawyer, I've read about it during my criminal law courses, during criminal jurisprudence, but to understand it as a common person, in layman terms, so to speak, criminals who fear at the very silhouette of Batman, and they rightly should, Batman still teaches us that the crime is bigger than the individual that commits it. Every criminal deserves to be tried, to receive justice, and victim deserves justice as well. And this involves no killing. Batman has a strict rule against it. No killing means that once you kill a killer, the number of killers in the world remains the same. So by killing a criminal indirectly, you are still giving birth to a criminal, to a killer. And that is Batman, who always strives to run it through the hearts of people that killing is bad. The 5th point, which I think is very relevant in today's times, is to use money and influence to do good. Now this is very crucial. Batman was born into a very wealthy family. He had all the riches he could think of. He had a whole company, he had more money than to know what to do with. But does he use it only for materialistic things? Does he only use it for fancy cars, for shiny jewels? Well, he does. But he uses more of it to do good for the people, to bring his money and his knowledge of science and his company, which has influence, political contacts all throughout Gotham, to actually deliver good to those who are weak, who are indefensible, who are vulnerable, and to do good for the poor sections of the society. And so that is a very common thing that we all want to do. And this is also something that we learn from Batman. Before we end this video, there is something small that I want to share with you. Sometimes I wonder, why is Batman considered to be one of the greatest, if not the greatest, superheroes of all time? I think that Batman's true measure of success lies in the iconic villains that he has faced. The Rogues Gallery, which has, of course, the Joker, which has Harley Quinn, Catwoman, Penguin, Riddler, Ra's al Ghul, Poison Ivy. Well, I've singled down a few of these rogues from his Rogues Gallery, and to find out how Batman defeats them or what he uses against them, to see how we can deal with situations. The Penguin or Oswald Cobblepot is a very political figure. He once became the mayor of Gotham as well. But Batman knows the criminal who is hiding in plain sight. He foils his plans by using the very same tactics that the Penguin uses: politics, influence, and those supply gangs that he has all throughout Gotham, which deliver arms, which deliver drugs. And so he goes against them systematically with the help of Robin, with the help of Nightwing. And that's what creates, and that's what always destroys the Penguin's plan. So you know that sometimes the best strategy to defeat an enemy is to use his own actions against himself. Number second, the Riddler. The Riddler is a very, very intellectual, very intelligent person. He is brilliant. Edward Nigma is a scientist, is a mathematician. He is something so supremely intelligent that if he used it in the right way, he would have been a great, great personality. Batman or Bruce Wayne is also quite intelligent, but he uses his intellect in the right manner. And that brings me to my point that sometimes our choices are what make us. If we use our strength, our capabilities in the right manner, we will always be on the right path. But if we use it to do bad, well, the Riddler gets whooped by Batman. Number 3, Ra's al Ghul. Ra's al Ghul and his League of Assassins share the same strength, same purpose, just not the same manner. So Bruce Wayne, during his years before he became the Batman, actually trained with Ra's al Ghul. But what happened is that Ra's always wanted to kill, to eradicate crime by killing the criminals. The League of Assassins versus Batman is always a very fantastic, very interesting battle to look at. And it is a true moral battle. Okay, Batman has a strict rule of no killing. And so he always tries to talk sense into his mentor, even though he doesn't. If not, Ra's always comes back a few years later, the Lazarus pit. Two-Face. So Two-Face or Harvey Dent is actually a very tragic story. He was the district attorney to be, and yet some tragedies occurred in his life and he became someone who didn't know what he was doing half the time. He's a paranoid schizophrenic and he always has to flip a coin to decide whether he should spare or kill someone, or to do good or do bad. Power corrupts, and Two-Face is the best example for this. Bad choices can make you a villain, or good choices can make you a hero. If you don't have a clear dissection between what is wrong and what is right, what is good and what is evil, you will always end up in a moral dilemma like Harvey Dent or Two-Face. To conclude, I would say that intent and action always go hand in hand. Both your acts and your mental intentions have to be right. There are many ways to achieve the desired result, some short, some long, some good, some bad. What you choose will always define you. Batman also has said that it is not who you are born as, it is not your identity. It is not who you are, but what you do that defines you. And I think that is the best way to end this video, on a note that always make the right choices in life. And I think these are some things we can always keep in mind. Today, in these challenging times, we all wear a mask, albeit without a cowl. We all are crusaders, even though we don't wear a cape. Real superheroes don't wear capes. Today, we all have the potential to be a knight for justice. So stay vigilant, stand up for what's right. Stay safe, wear a mask. I think even Batman would approve. Hope you liked today's video and hope you could relate to Batman and what we can learn from his fictional and yet so real universe. We will be back very soon with another video. So don't forget to like, comment and share this video if you liked it, and give a thumbs up. Subscribe to Ritvik Speaks now.